Hi, everybody. It's the Wednesday after All Saints' Day, and that means it's time for another Wednesday word. I usually tie the date of these Wednesday words to the previous Sunday, but of course, today, this week, we're all dealing with another event that is very important in the life of our nation, and that's the election that took place yesterday. Well, that in reality has been taking place for several weeks now when you count early and mail-in voting. I know how difficult it is to continue to be waiting for the results of the election to be made known. And I know that it might seem like this isn't an appropriate topic for me to talk about in a video like this one. But as your pastor, and as someone who is dealing with all of the same anxiety and frustration as you are, I think our faith has something to say about what is required of us during this time of uncertainty. I think what our faith requires of us is a number of things. First, a bit of perspective. Our faith has a long history, and we practice our faith well when we look at our lives of faith within the broad story of the faith that we share with those saints throughout the ages. In the same way, as citizens, I think we're helped by taking perspective, recognizing that every 4 years when we elect a president, the votes are not counted on the night of the election. The count often continues for days or weeks following the election. So this year, while the election is close and that lag in getting the results may seem more portentous, it's in fact what we do every time. And so with that perspective comes patience. Patience is something that doesn't come easy to us, particularly because we live in a society where we're often able to get what we want relatively quickly. We're a people used to instant gratification, to knowing that we want something and then being able to acquire it much more quickly than our ancestors, even a generation or two ago, would have been able to. And so it's difficult for us to sit back and wait to hear news that we want to hear. But patience is part of the fruit of the Spirit. Patience is something that's urged on us as the people of God. And patience carries with it an expectation that the God who promises to walk with us and be with us in our times of anxiety will also do all things in accordance with God's good and gracious will. And so patience is a part of faith. Patience is a part of trusting that God is going to bring things through to God's purpose in God's good time. I know you're hearing lots of people talk about the election all over the place. And so I'm going to make the video this week fairly short. But I do want to urge you in this time to continue to be prayerful, to pray for those who are on the ballot as the votes are continuing to be counted, to pray for those who are doing the work of counting ballots and making sure that that work is done properly and in accordance with law and custom. And I think it's important for us to continue to be in prayer for our country. The closeness of this election reveals to us that we are very sharply divided in ways too many to number, too many for me to talk about in even a longer video. And God's desire is not that that division would be instantly eliminated, that we get rid of all of our differences. But God does desire that as a people who live in a diverse country, as people who share a wide variety of viewpoints, on really important issues, that we approach all of those issues that are important to us first and foremost as people dealing with other people, as people who recognize the inherent dignity and worth of all of our neighbors, and as people who look to see the problems that face us as problems that involve people and not labels or statistics or numbers. God has created us all and made us good. And as we take perspective, wait patiently, and pray, it's my prayer that we would rediscover some of the truth that unites us, and that we would be prepared, whatever the outcome of this election is, to continue to be in dialogue with one another, to learn from one another, to be challenged by one another, but to grow together into the people that God in Christ is calling us to be. Peace and good to all of you. I'll see you again next week.